Hi there, this is a video about Pythagorean's theorem, and we're going to figure out how to solve for the missing hypotenuse of a right triangle. Now, before we do that, I want to at least once in your life, everybody needs to know what Pythagorean's theorem actually is stated. Most of you recognize the formula, but here it is written out in words, and you will see why the formula is so much nicer to work with. Pythagorean theorem states that the area of the square whose side is the hypotenuse, which is the side opposite the right angle, is equal to the sum of the areas of the squares on the other two sides. Which, if you look at the picture here, that means that this square is equal to this one plus this one. The area of this plus the area of this gives you the area of that, which is okay, but bear with me. I am going to flip to a video to show you this that's just way more cooler than my diagram. So please bear with me while I do a little switcheroo here. Make sure you have computer sound. And we'll make this big and check it out. Okay. So you get the nice right triangle in the middle. Look at that. So the amount of water, the area here, area there. I've done this demo with paper and cutting out things, and it just frustrates people. I love this one so much more. So back to the document camera so you can see the worksheet. All right, so you've seen that. Now, there are multiple different versions of this formula.
Yeah, recording.
Okay, sorry about that. That little technical difficulty, the video kept running in the background because I forgot to turn it off. Anyway, rather than restarting and wasting paper, I'm just going to continue on. Anyway, as I was saying, this is the version of Pythagorean's theorem that a lot of you know. If you are a student who was in Alex's class last year, Alex is our amazing grade 10 instructor, you may have seen this. And truth be told, I don't use either of them. I'm going to tell you a little story here. I have been teaching for a very long time. Okay, when I first started, I was younger than all my students, and then I was the same age. A while ago, I got told, you know, you're just like my mom. And this year, a couple of them have called me grandma and called me cookum. So trust me on this. Students, it's really easy to mess up either of these formulas because you have to remember that the c squared stands for the hypotenuse. However, if you use my version of the formula, it's obvious. Right there, hypotenuse equals side squared plus side squared. That being said, if you are used to using this formula to do your questions or this formula to use your questions and you're doing something for me, go ahead and use it. I got no problems with it. I can easily understand what you're doing, especially if you give me the formula first. But if you are new to Pythagorean's theorem, hey, live it up, be a wild person, and use mine. So let's get to this. It's not hard. You probably will need a calculator to do this. All right, so here's my formula. Hypotenuse is equal to side squared plus side squared. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look at my picture, and I'm going to draw that little arrow and say, shoot that arrow that way. So this is my hypotenuse, or just height. And truth be told, I'm going to do the same thing here. And the same thing here. Oh, you couldn't even see me do it down there. Right, and it's just the way the worksheet is made. They're all sort of sitting there nice, lined up like that. You know, you can twist them any way the triangles can twist on your page. Okay, anyway, so hypotenuse, which makes this a side, and this a side. And again, at this point, if you label them side, good. If you don't, meh, it's mostly the hypotenuse. Now, what we're supposed to do And the instructions say we are looking for the missing hypotenuse. Step number 1, write out your formula. I know it's up there. I don't care. Hypotenuse squared is equal to side squared plus side squared. Then we're going to plug stuff in. Now, we don't know hypotenuse squared, so we're going to bring that down. Side squared. You can put whichever one first you want. It makes absolutely no difference because you're adding two things. And order when you add makes no difference. So I'm going to go 12 squared plus 16 squared. Okay, if I had put 16 squared and then 12 squared, that would be fine too. Again, does not matter at all. Grab my calculator. Order of operations. There's nothing to do on this side. 12 squared I know is 144 plus, now 16 squared, I think it's 256, but I'm not sure today. 16 times 16 is 256. Now on this calculator, I could have always also gone 16, and on this one there is a lovely little x squared button. Boom, there we go, equals 256. Order of operations says you do, there's no brackets, you do exponents, there's no multiplication and division. So now we're just going to add it together. And I'm going to be lazy. 400. Oh, nice. Now, I hope you're looking at that going, either she screwed up, or we're not done, or something. Because if you think of this as going on a road, let's say you're going from here, you're starting up here. That's where home is. And you go 12 kilometers south and then 16 kilometers east. You're not going to be 400 kilometers from home, right? No, that's crazy. This is where it's important because the key here is it's the hypotenuse squared. So now what we have to do is take the square root of this side and the square root of this side. And that will be our answer here. Possibly some of you already know the square root of 400. What number times itself gives us 400? I think it's 20 times 20. But there should be a button on your calculator. And all right, on mine, it's really hard to see on this, but there's a little square root button there. So I can go second. Oh, my calculator just did something weird. Come on. Okay, it's acting up. The square root of 400 is 20. There's a square root button. Hold on. When all else fails, I get my phone. Oh, goodness, that comes out. Looks terrible on there. Calculator. Oh, doesn't even have it on there. You guys know that, right? You just take your calculator, you shake it sideways, and you should get the square root button. Oh my goodness, I do not see it. Oh, there it is. Oh, clear. So square root is 20. That was an awful lot of work to get an answer that I already knew. Okay, so scientific calculator, just take your phone and put it sideways. And I don't know what just happened to my calculator. And ta-da, there we go. That's all there is to it. Plug the numbers in. So formula, plug your numbers in, add them together, square root at the end. And 20 makes sense, right? If you go 12 kilometers this way and 16 kilometers, it could make sense that it's 20 kilometers or 20 going across like that. It should always be smaller than the sum of those two and bigger than any of them. All right, I'm going to say that again. Your hypotenuse is always the longest side. So the first thing I want to check is I want to make sure that this 20 is bigger than the 12 or 16. Check. Because the hypotenuse is always, 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 always the longest side. And then if I add, now that part you should always do, My second check, if I add these together, I get 28. This needs to be smaller than that. So it gives you a nice range of where it should be. Because you know that if you go down this way and this way, that shortcut is going to be simpler. It's a shortcut. It's going to be shorter. Okay, turn off the video and do these next two questions. And I was going to say, while you're doing that, I'm going to see if I can get my calculator to work. So turn off the video. All right, let's give it a shot here. Formula first. Oh, Joanne, why do we keep having to write the formula? It's right up there. Why do we have to do that? Okay, so a couple of reasons. One, so if I'm marking it, I know what you're doing. Two, the formula is very much like a recipe or a pattern. It tells you where to put things. So by having it there, you're going to make sure that all the little parts get in the right spot every single time. So my hypotenuse, again, I don't know. Don't lose a squared. All right, you know what? I'm going to be a rebel. Last time I put the vertical one first and then the horizontal. This time I did it backwards. It makes no difference. Hypotenuse squared. All right, let's see how I can use this. My phone, I am not, rarely use my phone for math. Next video, I gotta go find my other phone or my other calculator, I think. All right, so 63 now. Oh, there's next squared button. Can you see that? Boop. 3969. If I didn't want to do that, I can go 63 times 63 equals, oh, same answer. It doesn't matter whichever way you do it. Plus, I remember from up there, it's 256. So hypotenuse squared, so plus 256 is 4225. So 4,225. And then I'm going to use my square root button, which I'll bring it up closer. Can you focus? Nope, not remotely. Well, my square root button looks like this. It's got a little 2, and then it goes like that with an X in there. Okay, I'm used to it not having the little 2 in there. So I do square root, and ta-da, it's 65. Also notice, okay, so notice here we have the hypotenuse. I should put my square root sign, because whatever you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other side of the equation. And we have 65 here. If we put it in our picture, that makes sense, right? Because it is the longest side. And if you add 16 and 63, that part's less. Again, that last part, you don't have to do that. I just do it because I'm a paranoid mathematician, and I really, 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 really hate making mistakes. All right, squishy, squishy, squishy time here. Hypotenuse squared is equal to side squared plus side squared. And you know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you talking out loud when you're doing your math, because then you are writing it, you are seeing it, and you're hearing it. The more ways you experience something, the more likely you are to remember it. Just saying. And you know, it might get your family to leave you alone because you're talking to yourself. My hypotenuse is labeled, so hypotenuse squared is 38 squared plus 94 squared. Hypotenuse squared is, all right, handy dandy cell phone here. Ugh, I do not enjoy these. 38. Now I lost it. X squared. 1444 plus 94 x squared 36144 is equal to, oh my goodness, look at that big number. Hypotenuse squared is 10,280. Technically, in Canada, because we have the metric system, we don't actually use commas in there, but my phone doesn't know that. So it puts a comma, and that's just fine. I don't care if you guys write commas or not. And then we'll take the square root. Oh, and we get hypotenuse is equal to 101.39. I'm going to circle that. Now, I got a little excited there because I thought all the answers on this page were supposed to be whole numbers. So I'm going to double check my work. And I'm curious to see what my phone's going to do. I want to see what happens if I go 38 squared plus 94 squared equals 10 to 80. And then we take the square root. And I got the same answer. Okay, I still, even though you can do that all at once, I don't want you going like from, well, the last thing I want is you just giving me this. Good if you can do it, but I need to see the work because it's going to help you remember how to do math. It's practicing of order of operations. It's practicing, forgot to put it in, solving equations. And then if you do make a mistake, I have some idea and I can pick it out what went wrong. If you just give me a final answer and it's wrong, I got nothing. I have no idea what you did wrong and I can't help you. Right? So become a paranoid mathematician and you too become amazing.